The former publisher of the National Enquirer, David Pecker, was back on the stand as testimony resumed in Donald Trump's hush money trial. Pecker said during the 2016 election, he promised Trump he would suppress unfavorable stories about him. Let's get right to Good Day's Robert Moses. He joins us in studio with more. Robert, good morning.
Tashani, good morning to you. This being Wednesday, it is a regularly scheduled off day in the trial. Yesterday, David Pecker, a longtime friend of Donald Trump's, supplied some fairly dramatic testimony. He said he functioned essentially as an arm of the 2016 campaign. The longtime publisher of the National Enquirer, David Pecker, took the stand again and recounted a 2015 meeting at Trump Tower with then-candidate Donald Trump and his longtime fixer Michael Cohen. Prosecutors refer to it as the Trump Tower conspiracy. At the meeting, Pecker testified that he promised to be their, quote, eyes and ears and let them know about potentially damaging stories during the 2016 campaign. Pecker made good on those words. He bought the rights to two stories, one from a doorman claiming Donald Trump fathered a child out of wedlock, which the Enquirer determined was untrue, and another from Karen McDougal, who said that she had an affair with Donald Trump. Pecker made sure those stories never ran, a practice called catch and kill. Prosecutors allege that Cohen followed his boss's instructions and bought the rights to another story to keep it out of the spotlight, that of Stormy Daniels, who claimed she had a sexual encounter with Donald Trump, which he denies. That hush money is at the heart of this trial. Prosecutors allege that the former president falsified business records to hide the true purpose of those payments to Daniels. Pecker testified after a heated hearing in the same courtroom without the jury present about Judge Juan Merchan's gag order.
I think the gag order is totally unconstitutional.
Prosecutors asked the judge to hold the former president in contempt and fine him $1,000 for each violation of the order, which forbids him from disparaging likely witnesses, prosecutors, jurors, court personnel, and their relatives. The former president's lawyer, Todd Blanche, told Merchan his client was attempting to follow the order. Unconvinced, Merchan fired back, "You're losing all credibility with the court." The judge put off a decision on the gag order.
I'm not allowed to defend myself, and yet other people are allowed to say whatever they want about me. Very, very unfair.
After the trial concluded for the day, the former president welcomed former Japanese Prime Minister Taro Aso to Trump Tower. The trial resumes tomorrow morning. Earlier this week, the judge overseeing the classified documents case involving the former president unsealed nearly 400 pages of records connected to it. In one document, a Trump associate told the FBI that the former president promised his aide and co-defendant, Walt Nauta, that he would pardon him if he is reelected. Prosecutors have not indicated if they plan to pursue any additional charges as a result of this new information, which has just come to light. Tashani, back to you.
All right, Robert, thank you.